What's going on? Hey, how you doing, everybody? This is Souls44, and we're playing MC Eternal 2. I had to stop and restart the recording because it was funny as I hit the record button right next to me over there, a villager just fell to his death. I imagine I must have left the gate open or something. Yeah, he decided he was going to go up to and he fell to his death. So listen, we're going to cover a few things. We're going to cover some Ars Nouveau, simple stuff, and a plan I've got. I know I was talking about getting Blaze Blood, but I've actually come up with a solid solution, and hopefully this helps everybody else that's trying to get Blaze Blood so that they can do some crazier stuff. Or if they're just not, like me, that great at fighting and using hotkeys and magic and stuff so that they can get through the gateway, because we're going to do the gateway within the next couple of videos, or at least we're going to try it. But today we're gonna try and survive through first. Well, we're gonna talk about my updates to the base, and then we're gonna go through and I'm gonna show you the Botania. Then we're gonna talk about the Ars Nouveau, and we're gonna cover the last bit of my bees. I think the rest of the time I'll just do it without telling you all about it. So let's go ahead and talk first about the new apiary, this malarium block that I made. It is specifically and only used for Lapic bees. And if you want to know what these are logic monodirectional cables. They work wirelessly over, I think it says 512 blocks, which is a pretty good distance. And they can be crafted without the, they're not gated, right? So monodirectional cables are just an input and output, 3 logic cables, and they can connect at distances so that I don't have to have wires or logic cables running everywhere, even though I already do. Yeah, I have it connected in here. Yeah, you can't really see it, but it's connected in here. I covered it with a facade, but it even goes through bricks and walls and whatnot, as long as they're on the exact same point. So like right straight through this wall here, there's a monodirectional cable. I believe it's right there. I think it's right there. And what it is as long as they're on the same X and Y and Z, like they got to be exactly facing each other. Not Z, but as long as they're exactly pointing at each other, you'll see that they turn green. And when they're green, that means that they're connected. So it's just basically like a gap between wires. That's all it is. And it allows me, well, it'll allow me to do a lot of stuff. And I'm going to show you guys some of the stuff I've used it for. But this right here is now part of the same cable system as this right here, right? So this whole block setup, the power in and out, all that's all connected through this wire right here. What this allows me to do, though, is transfer power, that's what this is. It's an energy exporter, and it's transferring power here to the malarium energy cell. And I did manage to get a weather rain shield. So I have my Heart of the Sea finally, so this thing will work in the rain. This one is working just diamond bees, and this one's just working lapis bees, because I noticed that lapis was something that I needed a lot more of. And especially if I get into the farther amounts of Ars Nouveau, I'm going to need a lot of source gems, and so I need a lot more lapis. Basically, that's what that's for. Getting a lapis bee was really simple, actually. Once I was able to get the diamond, I could easily back down to a lapis queen, and then I just transferred her in here. I have this set up running on its own system, though, and I wanted to explain that. So this right here looks exactly the same as the other system over here. However, if this one is connected to that one over there, the storage system, the storage unit here, works in and out with just diamantic bees, but I wanted it to still be able to be centrifuged, this centrifuge right here, to work no matter where it's at, and deposit the remains in here. So I'm still getting lapis inside here. I'm still, well, I don't have any more. Well, I might have an amethyst bee somewhere in the genetics somewhere, but I'm still getting diamonds, and I'm still getting I'm getting my lapis over here. So this chest will be able to be connected to my AE2 system with no problems. Actually, I could connect it. It might be close enough to be able to connect it with the storage controller from Sophisticated Storage, but I wanted it to work separate from this one because I didn't want the bees to get confused. I didn't want the lapic and the diamond to breed. So what you do is you change the channel. This is channel 1, and these are all channel 0. I covered them up. I probably should have left them out. Okay, here we go. This, if you look, it's channel 0. So even though this is on the same system here, by changing this to channel 1, it allows this to be a separate little group, so to speak. It's still connected, but it's on a different channel. So that way the inputs and outputs function on their own. And I use this as a buffer for the extra Lapic drones. But what I did do was I said, all right, well, I want my importer here with the combs to be still on channel 0. So that way it's pulling in the combs from here and sending it over to this barrel here, not the exporting it here. So this is basically right now a circular loop, importing and exporting drones and the not the queens, the princesses back into the system. And it should just keep on cycling over and over. I haven't had any problems with it so far. I don't have any frames in it at the moment. I guess they ran out. Yeah, this took a long time to make because you have to get a ton and ton and ton. Well, I got enough the royal jelly, but I didn't have a whole lot of the dust, I guess is what it's called. I don't remember what it is, but in any case, that's how you get that to cycle. You have to be able to make at least one more, I think. You probably 4 or 5 if you need it. Now, I've looked through the bees, and I actually pretty happy with my decision with staying with diamond and lapis. I think those two are the ones that are going to be the biggest pain for me to get. Getting lapis to drop from a creature, I don't know what one would do it. Maybe one of the creepers, because there's a lot of creepers that'll do it, but that's how I managed that. Now it's out of the way. I did get the animus, and we have the water, and we have the fire. We have all the different essences now. All I have to do is click on them with the look. I can automate this, you guys, with integrated dynamics. I know, but at this point, I'm kind of burning out on integrated dynamics. I know a lot of people really don't like it anyway. So I think a lot of that just has to do with the complexity of it. Its capabilities are beyond good, and I don't care what anyone says. It's my favorite logistics system other than AE2 and refined storage. It works better in some ways because, like I showed, the monodirectional cable, which will lead us into this one right here. So this directional cable here, they're a separate system. They're not connected. So no matter what the channels are, it's not going to be any different. This right here is set up with an interface here so that it can see what's inside this drawer or inside this chest, right? It's connected with the logic model, the directional cable. And if you follow it across, it lines up here with this one, which then is connected to this one, which lines up over here. So that this system right here is all connected. Now, to explain where I'm at with this, let me backtrack a little bit and tell you guys about Botania. If you don't know how to do Botania, it's actually really simple. I did this a different way than a lot of people do, and that's because I wanted to show you guys that there's more than one way to skin a cat when it comes to some of the stuff. These weeds are growing like crazy, and I have to slow this down. Hold on a minute. I want this to be a lot slower. Oops. Go over here to part settings. Let's make it there. Now, this is going to take a long time until I get more of these flowers made, these Indo flowers. But that's going to be I'll tell you about that in a minute. So in order to get Botania going, you have to make a petal apothecary. That is actually the easiest thing to do. All you have to do first, of course, is get some petals. And if you don't know how to do Botania, there's a whole lot of different ways you can start it. but you have to start off with at least one flower of any kind. And what you got to do, let's say, for instance, I don't have a lot of pink mystical flowers. You can go this route, or you can, if you need to, craft some floral fertilizer. I believe I showed it earlier at one point. And all it is any color dye. Any one of these colors will work, and some bone meal. So you can take some bone meal, which makes white dye, right? You can make bone meal from any bone. And then you got your 4 dye. Oops. And you get your floral fertilizer. When you use a floral fertilizer in the ground, you're going to get a random patch of Botania flowers. Now, that's not going to get you a lot of petals, but it will get you enough to get started. And then when you need to make more petals, you can automate this. I've done it before, and yes, I use integrated dynamics to do it. We're not going to get there that way. You can plant them by right-clicking them on the ground, and then taking some bone meal or whatever you use to grow your crops, and you right-click it on the flowers, and they grow a double tall version. You pick them up, put them back in the system, and now you got 8. So we started off with 2, now we've got 8. Rinse, repeat. Right? That makes sense? Super easy. Do that with all the different colors. Go until you get white. I'm going to go ahead and make another pure daisy. Why not? All right. So you're going to need to get living rock and living wood. Those are really easy to do, but they take a little bit of time. And yes, you can automate that as well. I just really didn't feel like automating it. It's not necessary, but you're going to need any log. Let's go ahead and grab some logs and stone, regular stone. I think regular cooked deep slate will work, but it has to be not cobble version. That's key. And no sandstone does not work. So we're gonna go to the apothecary. It's super easy, right? A petal, and you can use those mushrooms too. I've never been a fan of the mushrooms, but if you're in a what was that? The stone block mod pack, mushrooms will grow. You'll find them in little cave pockets, maybe. Anyway, you can get mushrooms that do the same thing, right? But I don't know I don't think you can grow them double tall or not. I'm not too sure. But anyway, really easy to make. You pet an apothecary. Now, if it rains, they sometimes fill up with water on their own. So, don't lose hope on that. But I happen to have water right nearby. You right click it with a bucket or automate it, keep it full, however you want to do it. And then all you need is some seeds. It doesn't really matter what seeds. I mean, it works even with the demon seeds. You put 4 petals in here, throw them in there, and it shows you. And if you wait for a second, you'll see it scrolling through the types of seeds you can use. And you don't right click it, you gotta actually throw it. You get your daisies. That's what these guys are right here. I like to set mine up like this. You can set yours up however you want. Obviously, it's your choice, but I put them with 2 blocks of space in between. And this is going to let me build a little brick around it like this. And then if you notice it got little particles floating around them, then you did the right thing. Next thing you're going to do, and I do believe Vasky is the mod author. He's still the same guy, I believe. Has done a little bit of work, made things look a little better. And there's changed some things. So you're going to wait until these transform. It takes a little bit of time. And eventually what will happen is this will become living and this will become living. So you'll have living stone and living wood. Those are also Tinker's materials too. If you happen to like the way they look or whatever your reasons are for wanting to use them. Now, all your flowers are made in the petal apothecary. If you have a bucket with water. I just put that water bucket away. And you want to make a bunch of the same flower, we'll go ahead and we're going to make 2 more endo flames, or at least 1 more endo flame. Well, I gotta watch out. My flight is not on right now. There we go. I don't know why my flight ritual didn't want to work. But when you want to make multiple, if you do it quickly, you can actually, it'll say shift right click. And if you have the items in your inventory, it'll throw them all in there again. You just throw the seed on it, shift right click, water, shift right click, seed, water, shift right click, seed. You'll get the stuff you need. I'm going to do 2. I better watch out. I'm going to end up getting killed by my own guy. Most of them are dead, if you didn't notice. They died for various. I think the golems actually killed them, and they killed each other, and etc. So we're going to try and make the easiest one, and that's the endo flame. The endo flame is 2 brown, 1 light gray, and 1 red, and then a seed. So we're just going to get the petals out. I don't have any brown. All right. At Botania, do I have any brown regular flowers? There's some brown regular flowers. And then if you notice, I have a lot of glimmering brown flowers. All the glimmering flowers are duplicatable by the whirly sprigs. None of the functioning flowers are. Man, what is something? Hold on. So all of the flowers from Botania, I don't know if these grow either. They might. So let's say, like, just in case. Matter of fact, where's my brown one? Because I want to be able to have more. I could upgrade this quite a bit. You could just take 1 of each, place them over by your whirly sprig farm, and you'll start getting all your different flowers. Now, the glowing ones, the glimmering flowers, I found those when I was inside the adventure tower, inside potted plants. I planted them just to kind of give them a little boost in their happiness. And sure enough, they started growing and making more. So now I have magenta and glimmering brown flowers, all I want. And they're a light source. You can't really tell because I wear night vision goggles, but they produce light for you. So if you see one around and you're wondering why do I have all these weird looking flowers, that's why I have them planted over here. Now I tried it out to see if the daffodil and these that I found in the adventure tower, the shoot-me-nots and stuff, nope, they don't reproduce in the Whirly Sprig farm, unfortunately. And I don't think wheat does either. I was hoping to kind of get some seeds because I wanted to increase my, not seeds, but wheat. I wanted some wheat because I was going to set up something else to add more monots in my system. And of course, it's probably going to help anyway if I increase the variety of plants. They might like it. And if you just go up to a whirly sprig, right click it, and it says it would be excited to have this in their new home. That means they'll probably duplicate them. Now, I don't know for sure if that's the only way to tell or not, or if that always works, but so far, so good. I don't know if it works for potted plants. I haven't tested that theory yet. Anyhow, that's how you're going to get your Botania flowers. And you notice that these are now converted over to living wood, and there's your living rock. So, all right, to make an endo flame, we're going to need gray, light gray. We're going to need 2. And I think that's all we need. And we're going to need some seeds. I just happen to have a lot of wheat seeds. You can use whatever you want. And we're going to do an endo flame. Let's just double check. Make sure I got this right. 2 brown, 1 light gray, 1 red. So we're going to need more brown. And if I ever need more, I can just throw them on the ground like you saw. So first thing we're going to do, throw 1 red. Throw 2 light gray, 1 brown. Oh, I messed up. What do? You shift right click and it takes it out. It's actually 2 brown, 1 light gray. So there and there. Now we have, if you see it, it's a little overlay. It shows you that you have the things to make the endo flame. All you have to do, throw the seed in, boom. Now, if you right click it, it says right click with an empty hand to add back last recipe. You didn't do it. Why? There we go. And then, of course, now you just throw the seed. There you go. Now I have 2 more endo flames. And in order to interact with the flowers and the spreaders, which I'll get into that in just a second, you're going to need a wand. So that's why you have to get this wood, right? The wood is actually, I don't know, it's pretty good looking. I think it looks good. I don't have an issue with how it looks. I'm being lazy. I'm going to use my magic book. Craft it like this. You get your living twigs. You get 3 living twigs and 2 petals. And you can craft yourself a wand. I happen to have one right now. And you can choose the colors of the wand how you want by using whatever petals when you craft it to make it. It's that simple. So you just go here, 1, 2, 3. I don't really need to make another one, but I'll show you guys. You craft them like this, straight across in a diagonal or straight as a diagonal. And then let's say I want a gray one and I want a pink one. So now if you notice it has a gray and a pink feather or a pink petal, this one I just use 2 red because I happen to have it. And then that gives you your wand of the forest. The wand of the forest is going to tell you what's going on, and it's also going to give you the ability to bind things, which moves the direction of beams and such. And you're going to want to make at least a couple mana spreaders, which are basically, if you think about it, kind of like a tank. Okay, so it fills up with liquid mana and then expels it out the front, the little hole out the front. You're also going to want to be able to put that. Oh, I must have broke that when I was breaking land. Anyway, so you're going to want it to be able to put that tank of fluid into something so it can be used. So that's what mana pools are. And mana pools are really just living rock. Now, these pure daisies have the cap. Yeah, I broke something that was a little bit of lag there. Thought so. The pure daisies can also do other things as well. I think in some packs they're able to do a lot more, but if you click up here, it'll show you the different conversions. So you can turn packed ice into blue ice. You can change netherrack into cobble. You can change end stone into deep slate, stone into living rock, logs into living, blaze mesh into obsidian, ice into packed ice. That could be really useful. Sand into or soul sand into sand, and water into snow blocks. So if you're not anywhere near an ice biome and you need to get some stuff, this is the way to do it. You can surround the flowers with like whatever you want and have gaps in between, and then just put water in it, wait, and you'll see the little particles, and then boom, it'll turn to snow. Then you can take ice, it'll become, you get the idea. All right, so each one of these pools, which as you can see, when I'm holding the wand, you got to be either holding it in your hand or your offhand. I always put it in my regular hand. It also has 2 functions, each of these mana pools, other than being just a storage container. They can output to tablets, which is what that little square is. So if people are confused what that little square is, it's a mana tablet. It's basically like a bucket that you carry around that holds the mana that's inside the pools. You throw the tablet inside and you shift right click it and it'll tell it to take, instead of being the mana going into the pool, the mana will go out of the pool and into the mana tablet. So that way you can carry some of these tablets around with you, so you have mana available for various different functions later on in the mod. Right now, I'm just going to leave it for filling. Okay, so if you're asking what this thing is, it's called a mana splitter. And all it is a way of distributing out up to 4 inventories of mana at the same time. So you're going to be basically what I'm doing right now. I'm filling up 4 pools at once, and I'm only doing that because I know that if this is running while I'm off doing other things, one of these pools could get filled up, and excess mana and excess items that are being used to create mana are just wasted. So I don't want to waste a whole lot of materials, even though I kind of have a sort of infinite source of materials that can be used. Which will lead me now into how these endo flames work. Basically, anything dropped around them is then burned up, and then any of the spreaders that are linked to these flowers are going to be, it basically moves the mana into those the spreaders. The spreader then distributes it to the pool, which in this case I have them aimed at, and it can see it says aimed at mana splitter. And in order to move them, I mean, you can have them facing the wrong direction. So let's say I have them shooting off. I'm just throwing mana away right now. Okay, so like mana is just being shot into the sky. I want it to be right there. So I'm shift right clicking onto there and make sure that the angle is good. You don't want them really, really far apart for multiple reasons. One, the longer that travels, the less and less and less it has. It basically moves in little packets. And you'll see the beams kind of like get bigger and smaller. The farther away they are, it dissipates into the air. That's basically what happens, right? So technically, this is not fully efficient. You can move this up here, and it could, be a little bit faster, etc. But we're going to put lenses on here later on, and I'll explain lenses when I get to them. They're just basically going to fill these mana pools up, and I'm going to use this mana, move it somewhere else with another splitter or another spreader, and then that's going to give us areas to work with throughout the mod. Now, this is a different type of setup I want to go into because I wanted you guys to see how different you can do stuff. So I did something different. I was like, I'll just do something different. Now, remember I said I connected this monodirectional connector to that chest over there. So as far as this cable is concerned and this system is concerned, this network right here is the same as that chest over there in my Wearley Sprig farm, and it has a ton of logs. I just know that they can be useful for something, and throwing logs on the ground would be easy. All I have to do is export log into the chest, and then this thing would just constantly spit out. Like, oh yeah, this is a tongue from Biomancy 2. It spits out up to 3 items at once. Oop, there it goes. So yeah, it's just a hopper that drops automatically, so I don't have to worry about it. You can get a dispenser with a redstone pulse, or you could set up the one of the other ways that people do it, and that's with like a hopper with a redstone signal to disable the hopper. And so they put a pressure plate right here, and then run the redstone signal up to the hopper. That turns the hopper off, and then when this is destroyed by the endo flames, it then releases the pressure plate and then allows the hopper to work. And then the dispenser item, whatever it is, dropper, open crate, whatever you want to use, just drops it again and it turns it off. And it just keeps on. You can do it that way if you like. This way works for me. It's all about a timing. I'm actually producing more charcoal than I need. And that leads me to what I'm trying to tell you guys about this super simple furnace system. All right. So this is basically exporting a list of different types of logs into the top. And right now it's on blazing archwood. When that runs out, it'll switch to something else. I have a list in there with blazing archwood, dark wood, all the different types of woods on a list. I click over here. I tell it round robin. And I put it for a transfer rate of 1. So I take this out. Is it going to go? Is it going to go? I'm probably running out of blazing archwood. Oh, no. Blazing archwood. And then I have the side here, which does the fuel. Same exact thing, right? The reason for that is you get more fuel. Like it says burns 1.5 items per. That's great and all. But when it comes to this, it burns 8. So I'm converting 1 to 8. And even though I'm losing some because I'm using it as the fuel, I get a better return on my investment that way. That's the reason why I did it. And then, so I have an importer here that's importing the charcoal. And then this exporter here is exporting charcoal. Now it's going to overproduce now because it basically, this isn't going to hold the charcoal. That's being done at the other chest. This is going to hold what's already been brought in. And so my timing on this is what's going to tell me. I have it set for 600, which is actually even that's too fast for these endo flames. They're not really that quick. I can get into how to speed these up later. And when I do speed them up, I'll show you guys that. Now, when you first place down an endo flame, as long as it's within a certain range, right? You can see when you highlight it that yes, it has a spreader attached to it. And it highlights it a little bit. Like you can see that this endo flame is connected to this mana spreader. Well, let's say I wanted to connect it to that mana spreader over there. I could shift right click and then connect it to that mana spreader, which has an internal buffer or an internal tank within inside of it that you can see slowly fills up and then deposits every time it shoots. So now we're going to do that again. And then now this one, oh, as you can see, is not connected. Oh no, this one is the closest spreader is connected. So it's connected now to the one I wanted it to anyway. And as you hold it, you can tell what the beams are shooting at. It kind of highlights it, which that didn't used to be the case. It's great. If you want to see where the area is that these flowers function in, you have to create yourself a monocle. This right here. Now, in order to do that, you need mana glass, you need mana steel, and you need some gold. Now, in the adventure towers, you will probably find yourself some mana steel. So I already had some, but I don't have any mana glass. Well, how do I get these items? To get these items, you just drop them inside the mana pool, and they pop out as the other item. And since you can right-click up here, you can even change it to make it look better. I guess that's really all the Fabulous one does. As far as I can tell, it might hold more. Yeah, no, maybe it does hold more. I don't remember. But anyway, you can see the list of things that you can do with it. You can get a pasture seed, which like grows different type of grasses. You can fill up mana in a bottle, which I don't ever use, but you find those inside various different chests as you're playing. You can take a regular cookie, throw it in there, and you can see that it goes from not so bad to even worse. So I don't know why. Maybe there's recipes used for it, but there's 47 pages of this with 3 recipes each. The main ones you want to work on are going to be getting enough mana to produce mana diamonds, mana steel, mana pearls, mana dust, and at least a few things of infused string. But as you can tell, I mean, you can make a force relay with a piston. You can, I don't want to go into force relays. You can get in with boreal seeds. You can make tiny potatoes. One of the quests is to get 1,000,000 of these things. I have no idea how you're going to manage to pull off 1,000,000. That must be very late game because that's 1,000,000 potatoes and an infinite amount of mana, pretty much. I mean, that's a ton. I don't know why. Okay, you'll see these right here, these alchemical catalysts. And I think I should go ahead and show you guys how to make those because this conversion allows you to literally transform items into other items, and it's pretty useful. In this situation, the recipes aren't going to be standard, so you're probably going to run into some weird ones like this right here. I don't know why you would need to transfer almost impossible to get blaze rod into nether wart, but hey, have at you. Stone bricks become chiseled stone. I mean, if you need name tags, uh, coarse fruit becomes coarse flour, dirt becomes coarse dirt. You can make sand if you want. I actually have done that before. You can turn your big drip leaf into small ones. You can turn gas tears into ender pearls. Flint into gunpowder could be useful. I think you guys are getting the idea. This basically this hydroangeus, I think that's actually a quest I probably should do. Is a flower that produces mana from water. So let's go ahead and make some mana glass and get going with that. You guys get the idea. Use your catalyst and make a bunch of different items with it. It's actually very useful in this pack because of Botania and Ars Nouveau are going to be definitely a thing you're going to want to do in order to get some of the items that you're going to want later on in the game for sure. So let's go with the monocle. Oh, we're going to need some glass. I think I have some glass left. All right, so let's just grab 12 glass. And if you look, it gives you a little tooltip that pops up and says glass, glass becomes the mana glass. I just throw a whole thing up. Now I have mana glass. All right, so now I have mana glass. I can now make a monocle. Now, a lot of Botania stuff is cosmetic. So even though it is cosmetic, it also will let you see areas that you're working with. I will have to lose. It goes on the head. Okay. Oh, wow, it's making me put it on my actual head. No? Why won't it let me put it on my head? Okay, put it on there. You can see I'm now wearing a monocle, but I have a feeling, oh, it's down in the charm slot. That's even better. So now when I look at any of the flowers that are functioning flowers, you can see the area of effect. So you can say, all right, I want to be able to drop. Why is my flight gone? All right, I want to be able to drop items. This is the area, the highlighted area, where you can drop the coal, the charcoal, the wood, the logs, I think blaze powder might be useful too. I'm not too sure. Anything that like buckets of lava can be used. There's various different items as long as it's like flame related, like burning related, right? So things that you would use for fuel in a furnace, it'll burn and it'll produce mana. And they're the easiest one to do, and pretty much everybody does it because they don't die. Like they don't, this won't ever go away. This will just constantly run, and I'll forever have a good amount of mana coming in at all times. I want to get some of these mana pearls. Cool. Yeah, I'm still having stack issues. There's some lag issues going on. Now, I have a pretty good amount of diamonds now. Not like an infinite amount, but 216 of these bad boys. So let's go ahead and make some diamonds. Notice that the last 10 did not transfer over. That's because this pool is empty. I'm just going to go ahead and... There. Now I've got 32 of those. Iron converts into mana steel. So let's see how much we got. We got 16 mana steel. I'm good with that for right now. I don't remember if it's just redstone or glowstone. I think glowstone or redstone can become mana dust. Well, that one's empty, so let's go ahead and use this one. Yep, so glowstone becomes mana dust. And I know redstone does. There. So that's our mana dust. And then there's also the string. Now, the quest book already covers this. So if you're questioning, like, well, what do I do? The quest book actually can help you out. Now, the Botania book is kind of messed up right now. I don't know what's going on with that, if it was edited or not, but it's not as helpful as it could be. Um, so that's why I wanted to make sure I covered this. And let's go ahead and make a catalyst. I believe we have the items we might need. Nope. Yep, we do, just barely. So you're going to need 2 brewing stands and a mana pearl, which is made with ender pearl. So you're going to need some items for it. In order for that to work, right, let's go ahead and place that under here. Yeah, there's lag. Botania can create a lot of lag if you get too many particles going. Plus, it's raining. Now that that's underneath there, if you look at the bottom of this pool, you'll see it has a different little symbol in the bottom. And that's just basically to tell you, hey, when you throw stuff in here, you're not going to get the same stuff. The capabilities of it are actually pretty good. Like I was saying, the conversion can get you lily pads. It can get you granite from diorite. You get the idea that it converts things back and forth, right? Grass becomes fern. I don't know why you'd want to get diorite, but maybe you want diorite. Maybe you want the different saplings that it can make. You see, so your darkwood. So I don't have mangrove, so that's a way to get mangrove. I don't have any cherry tree at the moment. So you get the idea. You can just basically throw stuff in it. It converts the logs into different logs. It redstone into glowstone. So if you have an infinite amount of redstone coming in, but you don't have any glowstone and you want it, there you go. You get your different colored frog lights. That's a new addition that Vasky added. That's awesome. He's keeping up with the times. Now, these petite flowers are functional, and you're going to possibly want to do those. This clay conia will allow you to make clay, so you can use it. You have to place it near a source. I put it next to a mana pool and just have a spreader shoot in there. That's one way of doing it. Hopper hook. The hopper hook is a way of moving stuff around. We'll actually like reach out and pull stuff to it. I don't know if I've never really played with it much. The bubble is a functional flower that doesn't generate mana. It's a functional flower. Is as if you give it mana, it provides an air bubble or in a diameter around it. And I've used that before to create a underwater spaceship. An underwater ship, and that ship then had all my Botania stuff inside of it. It was pretty cool. Sproblin and well, all my old crew that I used to hang out with on an old server, um, really thought it was neat. I thought it was pretty cool. Bellathorn uses mana, I believe, to do damage to mobs. And an agricarnation will let you grow plants faster in a radius around it. And then you got your different conversions here, which is going to be very useful if you want different colored dyes or different flowers. And then you got your different fish conversions, which that's actually going to be useful if you're doing the fishing mod. Wheat into potatoes, pumpkin seeds into cocoa. I'm actually doing this for my own good. Look at this, slime into cactus. And the reason why I say that is there's some things in here that I don't remember. So this is kind of silly, but it lets you break your quartz into the various different smaller pieces. So if you're a block of quartz and you don't have a tinker smeltery going, this is a straight conversion. So it basically breaks it apart. Same thing with glowstone. Same thing with clay. Apples become sweet berries. That's useful. Now you only get 3 string from your wool. That's kind of sad, but you get red sand from terracotta. And this one's actually very, I'm going to be using this because this converts stone into andesite. And so if you don't have a constant stream of andesite and you need it for your create mod, or you need it for occultism, which you're going to need eventually, that's a good way to get your andesite right there. Poison and rare. Look at that. Rotten flesh into leather. Cool, right? I think that's pretty cool. I don't know. Oh, it just makes the flower decorative because these hydrogenias, I'm gonna make one right now. You get the idea. I don't need to go into that anymore. Let's go ahead and make the hydrogenia. The name kind of tells it all, right? Hydro. We want to make it, it's two blue and two light, oh, two blue and two cyan. All right. ETL. No. Light blue. Right. Nope. I need regular blue. Where's my regular blue? I don't have any regular blue. I don't have any cyan either. I thought I did. Oh, they must be over here. No, that's cornflower. That's tingle. Light blue. Nope. No blue. So what do we do? Simple. We make floral fertilizer. I thought I already had some that I showed you. I guess I didn't make any. See, look, it just takes any dye that you have available. And then I like to keep working on the weeds around here slowly because eventually I need to break them all the way down. If they're all gone, it seems that you can make it so that, and I mean all of them, they won't spread anymore. But you got to cover like the whole area. All right, so right click, boom. Here's my blue. No cyan. Nope, there's a cyan right there. All right. So now I got my two blue, my two cyan, and let's go ahead and pick up my mess I made. And I've got so much bone meal, it's not even funny. My whole farm up at the top. I mean, I have more bone blocks up. Oops. I want. Okay, I guess I want that. I need more petals, so let's go ahead and plant two. Repeat the process however long you want. I'm not going to make that many. You get the idea? Cool. All right. Now, we're going to make the hydrogenia, and it's raining, which is perfect. Oh no, we don't have any water in here. Now, it will randomly fill up. I don't know what the percentage chances are, but sometimes when it's raining, the petal apothecary will just fill up on its own. We don't need to worry about that. We've got water right by. Two and two, the 1, 2, 1, 2. And now you can see that it just takes a seed. And there's our hydrogenias. Now, what a hydrogenius does is it produces us mana from water. Now, it works faster in the rain, but you have to have water blocks around it, and I don't like it. I think it's a terrible way to generate mana. It should be fixed so that it doesn't decay, but after a period of time, it'll just stop working. You can see its area of effect with the monocle is really small also. It's just one block around it, right? So if I was to encapsulate the, I'll demonstrate it just so that you can see it. Hopefully that doesn't block that. There. I'm just gonna put water in here. That should work. I don't want to block my. You can set up a whole system of auto farming, I guess, if you wanted to. But As you see, the water disappeared. That's because this hydrogenia, it ate the water and it turned it into source. Now it does produce more source than the endoflame by quite a bit. And you see this mana spreader is like almost full. So it is more powerful overall. What the heck? They're missing. Switch to buying mode. I want it to be actually hitting it. Or hitting it? Looks like it was missing. Make it down even with it. Yeah. Weird. All right, so that basically covers the hydrogenia, that covers the endoflame, getting you started with mana. Over a period of time, this hydrogenia will decay and it'll become a stick. So it's really, yeah, there's ways of working it so that you can make it keep going, but I'm not going to worry about it. That's just not for me to do. I'm not a fan of that. I think that it shouldn't decay. If you just made it so it didn't decay, that would probably be best. But I don't like how that's missing. It's fine. As long as it says it's hitting the right thing, I'm not too worried. They both say that they're hitting the mana splitter, even though they're really not. That might be a lag thing. Super weird, though. I don't like that. Better aim lower. Huh. Might be a visual. It's just probably a visual glitch. Anyway, that's going to take care of the beginning of your Botania. I'm going to let this continually run. I'm going to make a whole bunch more endo flames, and I want to be able to outrun the amount of coal. Their speed, it can be adjusted. You can adjust the speed. You have to get um different seeds. I think it's an overgrowth seed, maybe. I might have one. No. So this overgrowth seed you can only get out of dungeons and stuff, but you hit the overgrowth seed on the grass, and it will double the speed, or at least increase the speed at which the functional flower works, right? Or the generating flower works. So these are generating flowers. Functional flowers perform various different actions, as the name entails. Ooh, hey guy, don't come after me. Okay, so that covers my Botania setup. Now we're going to talk about. So I think we got enough time, real quick. Hold on. No, we don't. All right. Next episode, we're going to cover, because that's going to run. I'm just going to let you guys know. That's just going to keep on running. And it's going to generate charcoal and it's going to constantly spit it out. And then next episode, when we come back, I'm going to cover Ars Nouveau and how to get yourself Wild and Wings. And also, um, the really cool way I came up with doing Blaze Blood, and it's gonna work. I know it. I just know it's gonna work, and I won't have to. I won't have to do anything crazy. I don't think. So stick around for the next episode. I hope this was informative, and I'm gonna continue to work on my base. We covered the monodirectional cables, which are not gated. The omnidirectional cables are gated, and that sucks. But you know what? I would be pretty OP right now if that was the case. So I kind of understand why they gave it the way they did. And then after that, we'll move into some occultism. But I don't know. I'll probably wait on occultism. Never mind. I will wait on occultism. I'll wait on occultism, and we'll go into the gateway. And but next episode, we're going to take on the Wilden. So stick around for that. Hopefully, that's been. Wow, that's so weird having that monocle on. I don't really care for that. So let's make it so we can't see it. There. Now you can't see it. You can't see it, and you can't see it. There. And there. Oh, I don't need to book on my side. I also went ahead and I installed the rest of the spells that I could find that I thought were decent. And I'll tell you what, this book is a whole lot more powerful. I got way more amount of magic source power, whatever you want to call it now, because every doggone spell has a doggone different. Like this has source for magic, and then mana for the iron spells is mana. It's a mess, but hey, thanks for stopping by. Hopefully this was informative, and yeah. Oh, and special shout out to the gentleman on my YouTube channel that told me about the roller skates on the right hand side. This is probably like 12 videos after you told me because I record ahead of time. And all that was, in case anybody else needs to know, is if you right click on these and you go up to the top, you can pin them and it will show up permanently on the right, basically saying, hey, these are the quests we're working on. It's a kind of like a reminder. That's pretty cool. But I had roller skates on there for some reason. I guess I had clicked the pin button and yeah, kind of jacked me up. So thanks for stopping by, guys. I hope this was good. For somebody, at least if they're trying to figure out how to do the very basics for Botania, and also if they're trying to create an auto smelter, because this will work with any kind of smelting that you need, not just for Botania. And also, moving stuff around a little bit with integrated dynamics. I think in the future, I'm not really going to explain what I'm doing with integrated dynamics. I'm just going to do it because I've done it enough that hopefully by now everybody's kind of got an idea. If I do anything weird with it, I'll let you guys know. So anyway, you know, love you, miss you. Talk to you later.